So this is the Kobo Libra color, and basically it's like the standard size. It's a little bit wider than your Kindle, and it comes with a pen that is beautiful because it's magnetic to the side, and this is where you kind of hold on to your pen when you're reading. And it's really great. It's also magnetic here, which I found was pretty cool too as well. So obviously the magnetic is not a perfect system where it'll stay attached to your Kobo reader perfectly all the time, and it will definitely get lost in your bag and detach. But I think for the purpose of reading at home or reading in the convenience of your car, I think this serves its purpose pretty well. So it's magnetic on the side, but then it's also magnetic onto this side too as well. We also have 2 buttons. This is to go back a page, and this is to go forward in a page for readers who like to, click on certain buttons to feel that they're actually flipping a page. In the back, I have some stickers here, but I'm going to definitely decorate more of it. But it's pretty plain so far, and there is the power button right here. So the Kobo Libra color comes in 2 colors, black and white. I got the black one, but the white one's definitely really cute and really nice too as well. And then so if you just press the back button to turn it on, so now it's turning on. So you have the option of putting it into sleep mode or to put it on power off mode. I decided to do power off mode because I wanted to conserve my battery. I think the battery on this is pretty stellar. Like, it lasts pretty long for what it is. You can do simple settings such as like brightness, natural light, and then also they even have a bedtime in case you read over your bedtime. I like the fact that once it syncs into your Wi-Fi settings and things like that, it knows exactly the time of your current time and your location. And then it also connects to Wi-Fi, which is really awesome. And then down here there's the home, my books, my notebooks, and then also the discovery, and then the more tab. So what's really interesting about the Kobo for Canadians is that Kobo actually works with Overdrive, which is where we get our public library resources. So if you go into more, and then you can kind of see like your settings and everything like that. You have your wish list, you have Dropbox, you have Google Drive, you have articles, and you have access to like activity readings and beta features and settings and things like that. And then if you click on to Discover, this is where you're going to be looking at the Kobo store, right? So you're going to be browsing the Kobo store, seeing if you want to purchase any ebooks or any audiobooks that you want. And this is really easy and really fun. And then they also have an audiobooks section too as well, which I found really cool. I think it's really cool because I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong guys, but I don't think any Kindle allows you to listen to audiobooks on their e-reader. I just think that this is amazing that we can do that. And then also, Kobo does not have Kindle Unlimited, obviously. But Kobo has their own version of Kindle Unlimited, which is called Kobo Plus. It's for $9.99 a month in Canada, and you have access to a whole plethora of authors. So you can definitely do your readings there, and I think it's amazing. And then Overdrive is what I was just talking about, where you can actually just link your public library into it. You can borrow your books directly on the e-reader, but you can also borrow your books on your phone. And if you borrow books on your phone, all you have to do is just do a simple syncing process, and then you can have your books loaded up completely onto here, and it's really cool. So this is my phone. So basically, long story short, in Toronto I have access to a lot of different libraries that are near Toronto, and it just gives us the access to more titles. But I think for the purposes of this Kobo, you can only link one library card at a time, so you have to pay attention to which library card you're linking to, and then therefore you can see the books that you borrowed from that library in your Kobo. But if you were to borrow from a different library and it's not linked to your Kobo, you can't see those books. I know a lot of readers like to borrow from different libraries, so just pay attention to that. I think that's just one of its downsides, but again, Libby is just a really great app. So what I like to do is that I don't actually like to browse library books on my Kobo e-reader, because I find that just like the way that it's displayed and how I find titles, like, it's a lot harder to find titles like this. I'd rather go through the Libby app because it's just a lot faster. And then once I borrow those books, what I end up doing is going to my book section. You don't even have to go to my book section, but this is where all my library books are already. But if I were to borrow new ones, I'll just go into the top right hand corner, and then I'll just click sync now. And then what that does is that it'll just update all the books that I've borrowed recently and all the books that I have returned. and it'll just load into the here. Another thing that I want to make a comment about is the fact that I think the Kobo reader is so fast. I don't know how the Kindle Paperwhite is doing right now because the one that I have is from 2018. But that Kindle Paperwhite was very slow. And I think the newer one's probably really fast, but this one is definitely really impressive. I don't feel a lag at all. I feel like a lot of e-readers, I tend to feel the lag and then it just prevents me from reading the book, or it just slows down the process and then it doesn't make it as enjoyable as it should be. So I really appreciate that this one loads a lot faster and it's just a lot cuter. So at the top we have books, we have authors, series, and collections. So if we click into authors, it gives you kind of like a list of all the authors that you have in your library collection. You can choose to kind of sort it by last name, or you can choose by first name, recent, and number of books. And then if you borrowed books first in series, they do a great job of collecting the books into the series. Collections is kind of how you manage your books, so you get to create a collection for it. I know a lot of people like to be very organized and have like certain folders and things like that, so I think that's perfect for you. So going into a book, so I borrowed Everything's Fine by Cecilia Ravis. Look how fast it loads. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is already a good selling point. But Everything's Fine, and basically you can tap the page to turn the page, but as mentioned, you can just use the buttons on the side to kind of go through the pages too as well. Now, as you can tell, this writing is way too small for me. It's just publisher default. So when you click in the center of the page at the top, you have all these functionalities that you can play around with. So this one's for color and for highlighting, which I'll show in the next few clips. But if we go into the top where the AA settings are, you can kind of change the font that you want it to. So it always defaults to publisher default, but they have like a whole select number of settings that you can choose from. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more here so that you guys can see what the heck I'm talking about. So I prefer publisher settings, but if I go to Rakuten, like serif, that's fine. I don't know really what supplemental is, but I know that my font size is way too small. So I'll just drag this up a little bit for purposes. We have line spacing and margins too as well, depending on how you guys want it. So with the Kobo Stylus pen, it's really cool because they actually have like buttons on the side. So this is just one button really. And so when you hold down the button or when you click onto the button and you drag across the page, that initiates the highlighting portion. So that's how you really annotate your books, right? So to change the color, what you do is that you'll highlight the section, or you'll click onto the section that you highlighted, and you just pick your color. So if I wanted pink, that's pink. And then I just change the page by accident. But if you were to want to write some notes down because you had some additional thoughts, you'll go back in the top middle section and you'll just click the color. You'll choose the size of the pen that you want, medium-sized pen, and then you pick your color. So for the purposes, I'll pick black because I think that's easier for you guys to see. And then I can just write hello. And I think that's really cool because now you get to write like little notes about how you're feeling. You can draw little circles around words that you think that are interesting. You can underline, you can doodle all throughout your book. And it's perfect for people who want to annotate their books. I don't annotate my books, but I think this is like a really cool like thing to do. You can also choose to do a landscape portion, which was really fun. So for people who want to read with a wider screen, this is the option for you. And then you just click with the buttons again. So then this one becomes the forward button to choose your pages. And then you can set to auto rotate too as well, so that when you're playing around with it, you can do whatever you want. So that's cool. But the other things that I think are really interesting about this Kobo e-reader is the fact that we have notebook sections. So I created some weird notebooks already, but there's two notebooks that you can choose from, basic notebook or advanced notebook or a folder. I like the advanced notebook because this one's just really fun. So we can just name this as test because I'm just testing it to show you guys. But advanced notebook has these lines to it, right? And then you get to pick what kind of pen you want. Ballpoint pen, fountain pen, calligraphy pen, brush, or highlighter. If I do ballpoint pen, it doesn't really matter. And if I pick a different color like purple, I can write down thoughts about the book for like book clubs and things like that. So like this book was okay. Okay, so that's my handwriting. It's atrocious. I apologize for it. But one thing about this is really cool is that if you double tap it, it automatically processes it into writing. So it's kind of like the iPad, but it's, you know, an ebook format. And then you can also erase it if you want. But if you also want to use the erasing tool, so like, hello guys, you can actually use at the end of your tip of your pen to kind of erase it if you want to play around with that. And then the refresh mode is really fast. I think that once you erase things, it takes like less than a second to kind of erase the stuff. So that's always nice. And you can just tell, like, this is great. This is amazing. If you go into the top button right over here, you can see your most recently read books. And you can just quickly flip back and forth between the books and then also the notebook itself. So I think that's pretty cool, right? So that's easy. That's easy to use. That's fun. Look how fast it refreshes. I think that's like one of the best things that has ever happened to e-readers. How fast it refreshes and how much it doesn't lag. Other things that I just noticed that are pretty cool too as well is this. If you're really into statistics, they tell you how many more minutes you have left in the chapter, where you are at the chapter, the next chapter, planning ahead how much you have to read, and then also telling you like the time of how much time you have left of the book, which I think is awesome. So really, this is just a really cool piece of technology. I think overall this e-reader is pretty worth it for what it is. It is fast, it is fun to use, it's perfect for people who love to annotate books, and it's perfect for people who like to keep up with technology and who likes the new and brightest shiny things on the market. So definitely something to consider. And if I want to put it back into sleep mode again, I press the back button right over here. And then boom, it loads with the cover of the book that you recently read. And you can also change the settings to kind of take off this cover too as well. At the bottom, it'll tell you that it's sleeping, and it'll give you the progress of how much you've read of the book and how much more you have to go. So thank you so much for Kobo Libra Color for sending me this. They honestly didn't ask me to make a video to kind of go over the e-reader, but I felt that I just wanted to show you guys because this is a really cool and neat piece of technology that I think everybody would love to play around with. And I heard that Kindle is actually launching their own color version next year. So we'll see how that one compares, but this one is doing a mighty good job already. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys again next time in a new one. Bye!